The hangar bay was quiet, too quiet. Bright lights shone down from above, reflecting off silver ships and smooth metal walls. Alien guards stood at every corner, their weapons ready. Nothing ever happened here. This was the Empress's private dock. No one entered without permission. Then they heard it, a growl. It wasn't a machine noise. It wasn't an engine. It was deep, low, and dangerous, like something ancient, like something angry. The guards looked at each other. One stepped forward, gun raised. Another followed. A third hit the alarm. The growl came again, louder, closer. The ground shook slightly under their boots. Then they saw it. From the far end of the hangar, walking slowly through the smoke and shadows, came a massive beast. Its body was covered in hard black scales. Its eyes glowed red. Sharp claws tapped against the floor. It had wings folded tight and a tail that swayed like a weapon. Zorthak, one guard whispered, fear in his voice. Zorthak, the dragon predator, the one that could rip a tank in half, the one that once ate an entire squad of soldiers, the one no alien ever dared to touch except the Empress. But now it wasn't flying, it wasn't attacking, it was calm. Walking beside the beast was someone even more shocking. A human, not a soldier, not a prince, just a mechanic, covered in grease, holding a wrench. He looked confused by the alarms. He turned to Zorthak. You okay, buddy? Zorthak made a soft growl, a gentle sound, and sat beside the man like a loyal dog. The guards didn't know what to do. Then, footsteps echoed through the hangar. The Empress herself entered, wearing her black and gold robe. Her crown glowed, faintly. She walked with power and pride. Everyone bowed, except the human. He looked around. Hi? Her eyes locked onto the dragon, then the man. Who are you? She asked coldly. Name's Cole, he said. I'm the mechanic. You called from Sector 9. Your freighter's engine needed fixing. I didn't call for you, she said. I got a request with your seal. She turned to her guards. Did anyone send for a human? All shook their heads. Zorthak stood up, walking closer to the Empress. The guards aimed their weapons, panicking. Wait, Cole shouted. He's not going to hurt her. The dragon stopped and stared at the Empress. She stared back. Then, Zorthak lowered its head, a sign of respect. Everyone froze. Cole scratched his head. Yeah, he's been doing that a lot lately. The Empress narrowed her eyes. How did you get close to this creature? I found him hurt outside the spaceport 2 days ago, Cole said. Didn't know what he was. He looked bad. I gave him water, patched up his leg, fed him some meat packs. You fed Zorthak meat packs? A guard asked, horrified. He liked the spicy one. Cole shrugged. The Empress stepped closer, inspecting the dragon's side. Sure enough, a wound had been cleaned and treated with human medical foam. The beast had let no royal doctor near it for years, but this human had fixed it. And he follows you now? Cole nodded. Pretty much. I tried to leave him behind, but he followed me onto the ship. Didn't want to be alone, I guess. The Empress looked back at her guards. Lower your weapons. They obeyed slowly. Zorthak growled again, softly. Cole reached out and scratched behind its horn. The beast purred. The Empress had seen war. She had ruled planets. But she had never seen this. A human mechanic, a wild predator, and a bond that made no sense. She turned back to Cole. You may have just become the most dangerous man in my empire. Cole blinked. Me? Yes, she said. And I intend to find out why. 2 days earlier. Cole didn't plan to become famous. He just wanted to finish his last job, get paid, and return to his small garage on the mining moon. But when his ship landed near a broken-down fuel station in the middle of nowhere, he heard something strange behind a pile of junk metal. At first it sounded like wind, then like a growl. He pulled out his flashlight and walked closer. That's when he saw it. A large creature, half covered in debris, breathing heavily. One wing was bent. Blood dripped from its leg. Its chest rose and fell slowly like it was dying. Cole didn't know what it was. Not yet. To him, it was just a living thing in pain. "Hey, buddy," he whispered, crouching beside it. "You're not gonna eat me, right?" The creature turned its head slowly. Its glowing red eyes met his. Cole should have run, but he didn't. Instead, he dropped his bag, took out a medical patch, and began cleaning the wound. "You've got a bad gash here. Hang on." The beast growled, a warning. But Cole didn't flinch. "Look, you want to bleed out? Or get back in the sky?" To his surprise, the growl softened. The creature let him work. Cole used a fusion torch to remove the sharp metal stuck in its leg. He applied foam to stop the bleeding. Then he pulled out a small food box from his jacket. It was meat, spicy flavor wrapped in foil. The creature sniffed it, then slowly took it from his hand. "Good. We're friends now, I guess," Cole said with a weak smile. He sat beside it for hours as the sun set, watching the stars appear in the sky. The creature didn't leave. In the morning, Cole stood to pack up. "All right, buddy, that's it for me. Take care." But the creature rose and followed him. No, you stay here. I've got work." It kept following. He walked faster. It walked faster. He got on his transport ship. It leapt into the cargo hold and curled up like a giant cat. Cole sighed. "I just adopted a dragon, didn't I?" Still, he didn't have the heart to push it out. Back in the present, inside the Empress's palace, Cole now stood in a private chamber. Guards were everywhere. Fancy alien nobles whispered behind masks. The Empress sat on her throne, her face unreadable. "Do you understand what you've done?" she asked him. "I fixed a creature. That's all." "That's not just any creature," she said coldly. "That is Zorthak, the last of the Dracarian predators, a living weapon of the Empire." Cole rubbed the back of his neck. "Well, he's a bit cuddly now." A few nobles gasped. One fainted. Zorthak was curled at Cole's feet, breathing calmly. "No being has ever tamed it," she said. "Not with force, not with tech. But you used kindness?" "I didn't even know what it was," Cole shrugged. "I just saw something, hurt and helped." The Empress stood. "That makes you dangerous, human." He frowned. "Why?" "Because you taught a monster to love," she said softly. "And love can't be controlled." Cole didn't reply. He just looked down at Zorthak, gently petting its head. "I don't want trouble," he finally said. "I just want to go home." She walked toward him slowly, eyes locked on his. "I don't think the galaxy will let you." The royal throne room was colder than usual, not because of the temperature, but because of the silence. The Empress stood tall at the center, her black gown trailing across the glass floor. Behind her, alien generals, ministers, and advisors stood frozen. Before her was Cole, just a human, a simple mechanic. And yet, beside him sat Zorthak, the most feared predator in the Empire's history, now calm like a trained beast. The Empress's fingers curled around the edge of her throne. She was furious. No weapon, no elite warrior, no scientist, not even she had ever controlled Zorthak. For decades it had roamed wild, deadly, untouched, until he arrived, a human nobody. "How dare you bring it into my palace?" she said, voice cold. "I didn't bring him," Cole replied softly. "He followed me." The Empress's eyes narrowed. "Lies." Zorthak's eyes glowed brighter. A low growl rumbled from its throat. "Zorthak," Cole whispered, resting a hand on the beast's head. "Easy, buddy." To everyone's shock, the dragon settled immediately. The Empress's anger burned. She was not afraid. She was never afraid. But something inside her stirred, and she couldn't name it. Curiosity, jealousy, or was it admiration? "Do you even know what that creature is?" she asked. Cole nodded. "A survivor Like me. That answer made the nobles whisper. She stepped forward, her long braids swaying behind her. You act without rank, without permission, and now you're protected by a monster. What are you, really? Just a guy with a wrench and a soft heart, Cole answered. The Empress stared into his eyes, expecting arrogance, but there was none. Only honesty. That disturbed her more than defiance ever could. Do you know what the punishment is for bringing a predator into the royal court? She asked. I don't, he replied. But I do know this. If you touch me, Zorthak will react. I don't control him. He chooses. The words hit harder than any weapon. Zorthak chose him. That was impossible. That was forbidden. That was fascinating. The Empress turned to her advisors. Leave us. Gasps followed. Your Majesty, a minister whispered. Alone, with the human, with that beast? She didn't repeat herself. One by one they bowed and left the chamber. Now only 3 remained, the Empress, the human, and the predator. She stepped closer, slow and regal. I ruled 27 star systems with fear, she said. I made warriors cry with a look. But now I stand here wondering why he follows you. Cole didn't answer. She circled him like a hawk. You didn't feed him commands. You didn't trap him. You didn't use power or pain. So tell me, human. What did you give him? Cole looked at Zorthak. Time, food, kindness. No one gave those to me when I needed them, he said quietly. Maybe he understood that. A long silence fell. The Empress blinked slowly. You fixed a broken beast, she said. Not with force, but with care. Cole nodded. Isn't that what mechanics do? A smile almost touched her lips. Almost. She sat back on her throne, her voice softer now. The galaxy doesn't work on kindness. It works on control. Cole shook his head. Maybe that's why it's broken. The Empress had no reply. She studied the human again. No armor, no special title, no army. Just one man. And somehow, he had done the impossible. Now she had a decision to make. Keep him, or destroy him. And she wasn't sure which one scared her more. The throne room was empty now, but the Empire was not silent. Outside its marble walls, whispers traveled faster than light. Guards spoke in low voices. Servants held their breath behind curtains. Advisors sent secret messages to other worlds. The dragon bowed to a human. The mechanic didn't kneel to the Empress. He must be a spy. Or worse, a chosen one. In the deepest corners of the palace, even the shadows listened. Cole, the simple human, didn't know his name had become a warning, or a legend. He was kept in a royal chamber now. Not a prison, but not quite free. Food was brought to him, and guards stood outside. Zorthak rested by the door like a silent guardian. Its large yellow eye watched every move. Cole sat on the floor, fiddling with a broken engine part. His hands moved automatically, but his mind was racing. What am I doing here? He muttered. I fix ships, not make empresses nervous. He looked up at Zorthak. You've really gotten me into something wild, haven't you? The dragon blinked slowly. Across the palace, the Empress sat in her secret chamber, watching. Not with her eyes, but through a silent drone above Cole's room. She studied him. He didn't pace like a liar. He didn't speak like a rebel. And Zorthak, still deadly, was at peace only beside him. Her fingers tapped the glass table. This human. He didn't bend to my power, she whispered to herself. And somehow, I don't want him to. Suddenly, her top general entered. Your Majesty, permission to speak? She nodded. The Royal Council is frightened. Some say the human has magic. Some want him executed before the people start to worship him. And you? She asked. I watched the footage again. He didn't command the beast. He earned its trust. We don't need to fear him, and we need to understand him. The Empress stood. Call a gathering. Quietly. No public show. The general hesitated. Private meeting? No, she said. A secret judgment. That night, Cole was woken by a quiet knock. Before he could answer, the door opened. A small alien girl stood there, dressed as a servant. Her eyes were wide. Her voice was soft. "You're the one, aren't you?" she asked. Cole blinked. "I'm just a mechanic," she smiled. "That's what they all say in the old stories." "What stories?" "The one where the human touches, the untouchable, and the empire changes forever." She handed him a folded cloth. "Wear this." "What is it?" "A trial robe," she said. "They're calling it a council of truth. If you fail, you disappear." Zorthak rose and growled. The girl stepped back. "But the beast, he may change everything." Hours later, in a deep underground room lit by blue fire, Cole stood before the secret council. The Empress was there, hidden behind a veil. Her generals, her top minds, even alien priests who hadn't been seen in years. One stepped forward. "Human, do you swear you use no trickery to control the beast?" "I didn't control anything," Cole said. "He's not mine, he just trusts me." "Why?" "I helped him when no one else would." A pause. Then the priest asked, "Would you do the same for us?" Cole's eyes met the Empress's through the veil. "Yes," he said. "If you were broken and bleeding, I would have helped you too." The silence was so deep it felt like the stars had stopped spinning. Then Zorthak walked forward, not toward Cole, toward the Empress. The guards flinched. The Empress stood still. The beast stopped inches from her. It lowered its head. The room gasped. Then it stepped back and sat beside her. The message was clear. Cole had earned its trust, but now the dragon wanted the Empress to earn Cole's. The Empress had not spoken a word since Zorthak bowed to her, but her mind was racing. In her entire reign, she had seen warriors fall, planets rise, and empires break. But this moment was something different. A beast had made a choice, and now she had to make hers. The next day, Cole was escorted to the royal arena, not the public one. This was hidden underground, no crowd, no noise. Only glowing torches, smooth stone, and a high platform where the Empress stood. Cole looked around. "What is this?" the Empress's voice echoed. "A test." Zorthak stood by Cole's side, calm and silent. "What kind of test?" he asked. "One you won't survive, unless your bond is real," she said. Then she raised her hand. A loud gate creaked open. From the darkness emerged 3 massive beasts, each more terrifying than Zorthak. One with spikes for skin, one with eyes on its tail, one that dripped green acid from its mouth. Cole froze. Even Zorthak growled. The Empress said, "These are the last of the Dracarian Prime. Even Zorthak feared them once. If you are truly trusted, they will know." The ground shook as the 3 creatures circled Cole. He didn't run. He didn't raise his hands. Instead, he crouched down and opened his hands. "I won't hurt you," he said gently. "I just want to understand." The acid-mouthed beast stepped closer. Zorthak snarled. "No," Cole said calmly. "Let him come." The alien predator sniffed the air. It paused. Then, it lowered its massive head. The other 2 followed. The Empress stepped. Back in shock, all 3 monsters surrounded Cole and sat like loyal guards. The room was silent. Cole stood up slowly. "They're not monsters, they're just lonely." The Empress had to grip the stone railing to steady herself. Her general whispered, "It wasn't luck. He really is something else." Later that night, in her private chamber, the Empress stared at the stars. Her voice was soft. "Kindness was never power in my world," she whispered, but it bent the strongest beasts to his side. Behind her, the old high priest entered. He had lived through 7 rulers. He bowed. "He doesn't know what he's doing, Your Majesty." "Perhaps," she said, "but that may be the reason it works." The priest paused. "There are stories, old ones, of humans who walked with beasts and ended wars. She turned. You think he's one of them? I think he's what the Empire has forgotten, the priest said. Back in his room, Cole sat with Zorthak asleep beside him. He looked at the claw mark on his sleeve, burned there during the trial. I didn't ask for this, he said quietly. But maybe I can do something good with it. Then came a knock. A figure entered. She wore a plain cloak, but Cole recognized her eyes. The Empress. What are you doing here? He asked, standing quickly. She walked in, looked at the sleeping dragon, then at him. I'm trying to understand, she said softly. What kind of man makes the fiercest monsters kneel? I'm not sure, Cole said, but I think maybe they've had enough pain. They're just waiting for someone who sees them as more. The Empress nodded slowly. Then she whispered, maybe that's what I've been waiting for too. The Empress had worn armor most of her life. Not just on her body, but on her face, her voice, her heart. She ruled through fear, through strength. No one dared get close. But tonight, under a quiet moon and soft palace lights, she walked down the royal hall with no guards and no crown. Her steps were slow, careful. She wore a plain cloak, like a servant. She was going somewhere. She had never gone before, not in body, but in spirit. To him. Cole sat on the edge of the large sleeping mat, wiping grease from his hands. He had been fixing a heating panel in the corner. Zorthak lay peacefully behind him, snoring like a mountain. A soft knock came. Before he could rise, the door opened. He stood quickly. You again? The Empress stepped in and pulled back her hood. Her long black hair fell loose across her shoulders. No medal, no symbols, no throne. Just her. I needed to see you without everyone watching, she said quietly. Cole gave a small smile. And I thought you'd never sneak into a peasant's room. She looked around. You made this place warm. Well, heat helps keep the beast happy. She sat on the low bench near the wall. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then she asked, why do you speak to me like I'm normal? Cole blinked. Because maybe you are. She let out a short laugh. That's the most dangerous thing you've said so far. He leaned against the wall. You didn't come just to hear jokes. No, she said. I came to understand how you made me feel safe. Cole looked at her surprised. She continued, I've stood next to monsters, leaders, even gods. But with you, I don't feel like an empress. I feel human. He didn't move. Is that a bad thing? She looked away. It's something I forgot I was. Zorthak lifted his head slightly, sensing something new in the air. Not danger, not fear, but something fragile, something gentle. He growled once, and then curled back to sleep. The Empress turned to Cole. I watched you in the arena. You didn't use power. You didn't use fear. And yet, they all listened. I didn't ask them to, Cole said softly. I just showed them I wasn't afraid. And what about me? She asked. Are you afraid of me? Cole looked into her eyes. No. The room was quiet. She lowered her gaze. Do you think I'm a monster? No, he said. I think you're a prisoner. That hit harder than a blade. She whispered. Of what? Of the image they built around you, he replied. Of a crown. Of fear. Of loneliness. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she blinked them away quickly. She stood and walked toward the door, then stopped. Would you stay? She asked. If I told you I didn't want to rule through fear anymore? Cole walked up behind her. I'd stay, if you wanted to rule through hope. She turned her head slightly. And would you stay, if I didn't want to rule alone? He smiled. Maybe I was never meant to leave. Far above them in the palace tower, the royal seer watched through a vision crystal. Her hands trembled. She whispered into the void. The Empress's heart has changed, and so has the Empire's future. The Empire was on fire, not the buildings, but the truth. Word had spread far beyond the palace, across stars, across systems. The Empress walks with a human. The dragon listens to him. The beasts kneel, and she smiles. To some, it was hope. To others, it was weakness. And in the shadows of the galaxy, enemies were watching. A fleet of warships appeared near the royal planet, bearing the flag of the fallen House Vernac. Long ago defeated by the Empress, they had returned. Stronger, angrier, strike now, their general growled. While she is soft, while she trusts the human, within hours fire rained from the sky. Explosions shook the palace. Walls cracked. Screams echoed. But in the center of the storm, one man stood, holding a damaged comm link and a toolbox in one hand. Cole. He didn't run. He didn't hide. He sprinted toward the Empress's tower, dodging flames and falling stone. Zorthak was beside him, roaring like thunder. He found her surrounded by wounded guards. Cole, she gasped. Leave. They want me, not you. Wrong, he said, grabbing her hand. They want the old you, but they're about to meet us. Zorthak leapt from the tower ledge and landed on the battlefield below. Cole and the Empress followed, riding the beast into the heart of war. Enemy troops froze. They had heard rumors, but nothing could prepare them for this. A human riding the dragon. The Empress without armor, and the fire of unity burning in both. The battle was brutal. But it wasn't the beasts or the bombs that changed the war. It was what came next. The Empress stood before the last of the enemy generals, her voice calm but firm. I could crush you, she said, but I won't. The general spat. You've grown weak. No, she replied, I've grown stronger, because now I know what love is. And behind her stood Cole, silent, steady, holding the flag of peace. Days later, when the fire had faded, the people gathered in the great courtyard. They expected a speech. They got a surprise. The Empress stepped forward and removed her crown. She placed it gently in Cole's hands. Gasps filled the air. Then she turned to the crowd. This human didn't take power, she said. He taught me how to use it. She looked at Cole, voice softer. I ask not just for your loyalty, but your hand. Cole smiled. No thrones, he said, but I'll stand beside you, and in front of thousands, human and alien, warrior and child. They stood together, an Empress reborn and a mechanic who fixed more than just machines. He had fixed her heart. Far above, Zorthak spread his wings across the palace walls, no longer a weapon, but a guardian. And across the galaxy, where fear once ruled, a new word began to rise. Hope.